Hello friends, I'm a medical student, Moisma, and I welcome you to my channel, Medflix. For the medical conceptual videos, please subscribe, like, and share. Today we will discuss about the basic physiological concept of endocrine system. And the endocrine system plays a very important role in our body. So endocrine system is made up of various endocrine glands, which secretes hormones into the bloodstream to reach the target cells. So in many instances, neuronal and endocrine control of the body process is achieved through interaction between two systems linked by neuroendocrine cells, which are present in hypothalamus. So when an endocrine gland releases the endocrine hormone, it is being secreted into the bloodstream, through which it is being transported to the target cells, which causes the cell to respond to its function accordingly. So in response, cells to its functions. Now we will briefly discuss about the endocrine glands. Anatomically, the endocrine system consists of 6 distinct organs like hypothalamus, pituitary gland, thyroid and parathyroid gland, pancreas, adrenal gland, and gonads. So here we will discuss about the hypothalamus. Hypothalamus is present in brain just below the thalamus, and it is a major area which releases the releasing hormone which further act upon the pituitary gland like thyroid releasing hormone, growth hormone releasing hormone, and gonadotropin releasing hormone, prolactin inhibiting factors, somatotropin inhibiting factor. Hypothalamus sends signals to the pituitary gland, which is the pea-sized shaped structure present just below the hypothalamus, and it has 2 lobes, anterior and posterior. On receiving signal from the hypothalamus, anterior gland releases certain hormones like TSH, FSH, LH, GH, and ACTH, and posterior will release oxytocin and ADH, about which we will study later in detail. Coming to another gland present in the neck called a thyroid gland. Thyroid gland have 2 lobes, and it is made up of the many follicular cells and parafollicular cells, which releases calcitonin, T3, and T4. On the other hand, on the posterior surface of thyroid gland, there is a gland present in 2 pairs, which is called parathyroid gland. Parathyroid gland basically releases parathyroid hormone, which helps to regulate the calcium and phosphate level in the blood. After that, coming on to another gland present above both the kidney, called adrenal gland. So basically, adrenal gland consists of 2 regions. There is a medulla, the inner one, and the cortex, the outer one. Adrenal gland will secrete epinephrine and non-epinephrine from the medulla, and glucocorticoids, mineralocorticoids, and androgen by cortex. Now coming on to another system, which is a gonadal system. In females, there is a pair of reproductive organ called ovaries, which releases estrogen and progesterone. And similarly, in the male reproductive system, there is a pair of gonad called testes, which releases testosterone, which is basically androgen. So it was the brief explanation of endocrine glands. Endocrine system basically maintains or regulates the homeostasis in our body. So it is very important to study the endocrine system. Now we will talk about the hormone structure. Structurally, 2 major classes of hormone are present. Number 1 is basically the steroid hormone, and another is a non-steroid hormone. Alright, what are steroid hormones? Steroid hormones are basically made from the cholesterol molecule. Cholesterol molecule itself is made from it's a complex structure, as I have shown here, and it is made from the adrenal gland, ovaries, testes. Steroids are hydrophobic in nature. That means that they hate water, like they cannot travel in water. So when they are transported into the blood, they need a transport medium to be transported to the target cell. So it will bind to a particular receptor in the blood so that it can easily be transported to the target cells. Alright, on reaching the target cells, there is a cell surface membrane, as I have shown here on target cells, which I am drawing as the double layer, as a bilayer, phospholipid bilayer. So once the steroid hormone reaches the cell, it easily passes the cell surface membrane because it's hydrophobic in nature. And in the cytoplasm, it will bind to a receptor and it will perform its particular function. Now talking about the non-steroid hormones, which are peptides or proteins. Insulin and glucagon, the main example. They are made up of many amino acid chains. As you can see here, insulin and glucagon they both are made up of numerous amino acids chained together, and as they are non-steroids or the protein in nature, they are hydrophilic, so they love water. So when in the blood it is being transported, it is secreted into the blood, it do not require any kind of transport material or transport protein. So they are easily being transported into the blood, and through blood it easily being transported to the target cells. Alright, on reaching onto the target cell, it will bind to its receptor. As I'm zooming here, so as you can see here in phospholipid bilayer, there is a receptor embedded in it. When the hormone reaches the cell, it cannot pass through the lipid membrane because it is hydrophilic in nature, so it cannot pass through the cell membrane. It should be bound with some particular receptor. So when it binds with the receptor, it causes a second messenger mechanism to get activated. So second messenger will send signals to the nucleus to undergo gene expressions. So far we have studied about the hormonal transportation to the target cells. When it reaches the target cells, it causes the second messenger activation. Second messengers plays a very important role in cell mechanisms. Cyclic AMP, IP3, tyrosine kinase, and steroid hormones are the examples of second messenger. Many hormones of our body work under the cyclic AMP mechanisms. Similarly, many hormones work under the IP3 as well. Insulin and glucagon-like hormone work under the tyrosine kinase, and steroid hormone work under the steroid hormone mechanisms. So now I will show you that how these mechanisms work in our body. First, we will study about the cyclic AMP mechanisms. In cyclic AMP mechanism, there is an enzyme called adenylate cyclase, and the receptor is embedded into the cell surface membrane. When the hormone reaches the cell, it binds to the receptor and it causes the G protein to activate the adenylate cyclase, which convert the ATP into the cyclic AMP, which further activate protein kinase and which will cause the physiological actions. Similarly, in IP3 mechanisms, in cell surface membrane there is a receptor binded to it. When the hormone binds to the receptor, it causes the G protein to activate phospholipase, which will further form the DAG and IP3 mechanisms. And these two will cause its physiological actions. Now, coming on to the steroid hormone mechanisms. Steroid hormone mechanisms do not require any receptor to pass through the cell surface membrane. As the receptor is present in the cytoplasm, it will enter the cell and bind to that receptor. When it binds to the receptor, it will causes the nucleus to form mRNA, which is a messenger RNA, and to perform its physiological actions. Now we will talk about the tyrosine kinase mechanisms. Tyrosine kinase mechanisms, just like other mechanisms, it also has a cell surface receptor embedded in the cell surface membrane. So when the hormone binds to the receptor, it causes the phosphorylation of that receptor, which will further causes the physiological action. So it was all about the endocrine system physiology. Hope you have learned it. Thank you.